Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents the Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by the Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, and Books and Brews Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations and has been recognized by the Sioux Falls Stage Awards with a special distinction for promoting the arts. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, everyone. It is so great to have you along to listen for great conversations with the creators that we have in the Sioux Empire, as we have Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations lined up for you today, including Debbi Jones. She's a wonderful actor. She's also a director, and she takes part in many things, one of which is Goodnight Theater Collective, and they have You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Starting, its opening night is tonight. It also happens to be Debbi's birthday, so happy birthday, Debbi. I know you're going to break a leg on stage. Hopefully you don't break one at a birthday party, though. And so she's coming up in just a few minutes. And then after that, we stay in the theater, but we move north because they're getting ready to celebrate 40 years at the Mighty Corson Arts Players. Brian Schipper, he's the main guy there. He's got lots of stuff planned for it, as does Kylie Murray, who has acted there before, staged, managed, and is quite often that wonderful, lovely face and smile that you'll see when you walk in and get your tickets and so forth. So those two are going to talk about the MCAP 40th anniversary coming up next Saturday. We wanted to get it in plenty of time to let you make sure that you could clear your calendar, and they'll tell you all about the fact that it's kind of a long-going thing for them that day, starting at 3 but not ending completely until 10. So you can find a spot to make it. That is for sure. In the meantime, before we move on to popping the cork, I do want to tell you that the ruggedly handsome trivia host returns to the Sky Lounge tomorrow night. Friday night, 7 p.m., Trivia for Dummies. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day, and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near, and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. All right, get ready to lift them up. I'm sure you probably lifted a few on the 4th of July, and that was a fantastic time for us. And you know how last week I had toasted to being lucky because I'd won a shake of the day just a few days prior? Well, this time I'm thankful. Thankful for all the friends that we have and those that came over and celebrated the 4th with us. And very thankful that the next day, the storm that came through, while I look out the window here at the Dipsy Doodle Studios, I see our two big oaks. One is still standing completely, the other one's still standing, but we had some mighty big branches come down, and thankfully we didn't have a vehicle parked in the street. Otherwise, we would no longer have a vehicle because some big branches came down right in that area. So thankful we didn't have any physical damage to the house, no personal damage, no vehicle damage. But we did, we have to get out the chainsaw. All right. But thankful again. So here's a toast to you. Thankful. The Weekend Eve Toast has been brought to you by Ale Hop Brewery Tours. People are talking about how great it is using Ale Hop on their Facebook page. Here's what Tina had to say. Super fun and convenient. You can go out, have a good time with friends, and not have to worry about driving home. And best of all, it supports our locals. No matter what brewery in Sioux Falls is your favorite, Ale Hop Brewery Tours lets you and your friends choose any or all of the local breweries, plus a distillery. Book your private tours online, alehopbrewerytours.com, alehopbrewerytours.com. If you're already out and about on the weekend, hop on a public tour. For more info, call 605-777-2183. That is 605-777-2183. Ale Hop Brewery Tours, where micro fans meet micro brews. Honorable mention. And the honorable mention for this week, the esteemed award, goes out to our friends at Downtown Sioux Falls, who put on a great block party, which Matt D played at on Friday night last week. And it was the first time he'd played with his band that had helped him record an album and another album in the works. They were magnificent. It was absolutely incredible stuff. And then after that, we caught up with Elizabeth Hunstead down at Woodgrain, and she was playing outside. It was nice outside that evening, a little warm yet, but still livable outside. And in between times, we went to Van Art's studio for their first Friday. It's a monthly thing for them to have a show, and it was all female artists. I still don't have anything of April's because my wife says we don't have enough wall space. Might need to create some, but in the meantime, I had wanted some of that alcohol ink art that Crystal Richards does. And it's like, oh man, she has coffee cups. We always have room for coffee cups, and I got one in purple, one in orange. For those of you that are paying attention, you know those are the logo colors here at the Dave Holly Hour. So congratulations to Downtown Sioux Falls for having a block party and your usual First Friday and all the people that take part in that. And for live music outside, it was wonderful for sure. Here we are. It is 7/7, and this is episode 137. And it's coming up with Debbi Jones in just a moment. And then after that, it's going to be Brian Schipper and Kylie Murray from Mighty Corson Arts Players. It's all ahead on the Dave Holly Hour.
Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XL Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or xlchiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XL Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
It's the podcast that creatives in the Sioux Empire listen to learn more about other creatives. It's the Dave Holly Hour.
Thank you so much, and welcome back, everyone. It is always a pleasure. You know, those are my favorite words to start off every conversation with. And when it comes to having Debbi Jones in the studio, it is always a pleasure. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
Let's see. What is this? Third time on the show?
I think just second.
Just the second?
I
okay. Yeah, it might be.
Maybe third.
Yeah. But regardless, great to have you. And always great to see you. And we'll be seeing you, let's see, this podcast actually comes out on Thursday, so we'll be seeing you tonight.
It's my birthday.
Oh, you see, you already got to it, so let's just go ahead and play this now then. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Happy birthday to you.
Wow.
Yes.
Name and everything.
Not only name, they even spelled it the same way.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
How do they know?
I don't know, but thank God for a royalty-free group of karaoke singers that has thousands of names. It's like, seriously? I was just kind of hoping maybe you would get there, but no, spelled the same way, the whole works.
Whoa.
So what more could you ask for on opening night, but to have your birthday to have been celebrated here on the Dave Holly Hour?
Wow, nothing.
I
This
tell you,
made my year.
it did, didn't it? Right off the bat. Well, no, we're 7 months in now. But it's been 7 months of busy for you. Typically is anyway. We have lots of stuff to talk about, but first let's talk about what you're in tonight. You're playing Lucy, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, being brought to us by those wonderful folks called Good Night Theater Collective.
Yes.
Yeah, and so what is the most fun part about this particular show?
Rebecca has really wanted us to lead with the hearts of children. So instead of doing like typical theater warm-ups at each rehearsal, she's been having us play children's games.
Oh, wow.
At each rehearsal. Like Duck, Duck, Goose, Red Light, Green Light. Oh my gosh, it's been so much fun just to kind of get a great way to get ourselves in the heads of kids, and to be thinking like kids and playing like kids. So I think people are really going to enjoy not only the script itself, because it's a wonderful, classic script, but they're going to have so much fun seeing the ways we interact with each other when we're not necessarily speaking in a scene. Just watching people have fun and being kids on stage. It's a blast.
Boy, what a great way to get involved in that, to as a director.
Yeah.
To get your cast that's, 20-somethings, 30-somethings, what have you, think of as children, and to actually love that idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. You are going to incorporate that sometime in a show that you do?
Maybe. Yeah. It was super fun.
Yeah, I can imagine so. So let me ask, do you get to actually pull the football away?
They don't have that moment.
It's not in there.
This musical. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's not written in.
Surprised.
There are other classic moments.
Right.
We've got the psychiatric.
Okay,
yes.
I was going to say, you got to have the
psychiatric
5
help
cent,
is in
the
there.
nickel help.
Yes.
Yeah. So what did you find fun about playing Lucy?
Lucy is, dramatic and kind of crazy. So it's a blast to just kind of get to be wild and free. Playing Lucy reminds me a little bit of playing some other comedic characters I've played over the years, just in a different way. So as a child, this is the first one as a child. So
Right.
It's fun to kind of get to be loose in a different way, Yeah.
Did you watch Charlie Brown a lot and the Peanuts stuff and follow the comic at all?
Not a ton as a kid, no, but I'm very familiar with this musical. So I've seen it a few times, and I choreographed it actually when Dappa did it back in the day. So yeah.
All right. See, DAP is one of the other things we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. But now, are you actually part of the collective part of
Yes.
the night? You are.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the difference between getting into the collective versus, being a guest artist and so forth?
Collective members are people. We always help in other ways as well. You'll see collective members helping at the front desk of
Right,
each show.
yeah, when
They
you go
help
to the
behind the
show,
scenes. Yeah, they're kind of the more consistent help and members, and it's kind of just a way to. I think. I might be misquoting, but I think it's a way to just kind of honor people's tenure if they've done. You have to meet certain qualifications to qualify as a collective member, I guess.
Yeah. But you've been with the group since the beginning, haven't you?
Yeah, I was in their first season. Yeah.
Yeah, I recall that. Carrie and I think we've missed 2 productions, maybe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
it's
believe
just
it.
fantastic. And
You are very supportive.
Well,
Yeah.
we try to be. We do our best. We are season ticket holders now.
Yay.
So
Me too.
So we might actually win something sometime.
I know, right?
But we just love going to it. What do you love about this particular group, though, about being involved in Good Night?
Good Night, they're just kind professionals. They treat each other and they treat their guest artists just with the utmost respect and kindness, and they're just, and not only that, but they're some of the most creative people I've ever worked with. You have Bob Wendland and Rebecca Merriman and Luke Tachi and Martha. I mean, just these incredible creatives who just want to make quality work.
I only sleep about 5 hours a night. I'm pretty sure that Luke only sleeps about 5 minutes.
I don't know how Luke does all the things he does.
It's amazing.
I seriously lay awake at night think about how does Luke do all these things? He's so well. He's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like something's coming off half shot or anything. It's all wonderful
high
stuff.
quality. Yes. Yeah, they're just amazing, incredible people. So it's an honor just to work with them and be around them.
What will people be surprised about tonight?
I don't want to give anything away.
Oh, okay. No trade secrets then.
But I think that people are just going to have a lot of fun. Again, like I said, watching the way we interact with each other. But okay, I can give this away. The set is very minimal. It's really like 9 acting blocks is all we use. And so the ways that we use the 9 acting blocks to create each scene and each location, I think, will be surprising and fun.
Did you get some leeway in it as well then, as an actor, instead of just being directed or told what the blocking is, that you also get a little improvising?
I mean, we definitely were given a lot of freedom by Rebecca to kind of create, our characters and our scenes the way that we wanted to. The ways we move the acting blocks, though, has been very intense blocking for that from scene to scene. We call it blockography. And we've had to practice that a lot, just the scene changes. So the scene changes are very rigid, and they've changed. And anytime they do need to change, it's like, okay, we got to run this a bunch of times that we totally understand where each block needs to go when. But the scenes themselves, we get a lot of freedom.
Good.
Rebecca
always fun to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a lot of trust in us, and we have a lot of trust in her, and so it's just been a really cool collaboration.
Well, and you used ography on that, which is ironic, especially since she is a choreographer.
Yeah, and she choreographed the production as well.
So she's had double duty in it, and she does marvelous work.
Yes,
both ways, as a director and as a choreographer. So it's got to be a fun time to be involved in that. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, you had mentioned DAPA. Boy, what a great season you've had.
Yeah.
It's just been phenomenal, the things that we were able to take in.
Oh, thank you.
We were able to get to a couple of shows. We just loved every bit of it. And it's been so fun to watch kids. And then, of course, when you had the adults in it as well, that was just amazing. What did you get out of this season as one of the people that's so highly involved with DAPA?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it was stressful for all of us this season. Just not only with the, it was our biggest season we've ever done for sure, because we did 3 full-length shows of our 6 shows that we do in a year. And usually we do like 1, maybe 2 full-length shows. So 3 of the 6 were full-length. So that was intense in itself. And then not only that, but moving into the larger space at the Orpheum,
right?
It created a ton more opportunities for not only for like our students to, play bigger roles, learn more challenging music and pieces and shows, and then but also the opportunity of creating more technical, more high level technical.
And the other thing was, to be able to get involved in some huge type of productions along with it, as you mentioned, the technical aspects and so forth, but also, just some of the big type shows in general had to be phenomenal for them. And you, as someone that is watching it all, had to be an incredible amount of pride in that.
Oh my gosh, so much. And just, so much honor that it just feels so honored to support them in whatever way I can, in whatever way I do. I mean, but not only that, but we could do nothing without the amazing creative team that we have. Bob Wendland, first and foremost, boots on the ground, designed, I think, every single set that we did this year. And I mean, we've got Coleman Peterson, Molly Wilson, and Rebecca Merriman. Again, just incredible people who are guiding and leading our students. So yeah, we're just lucky to have a great team.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I do know one thing. I have been in the Orpheum many times, and it's always fun, and most shows garner a standing ovation. But the standing ovations for those, because you've got mom, dad, you've got grandma and grandpa, you've got, each actor, and then you had some pretty good-sized casts as well. Each one of them has probably 6 to 8 people that are there for them. And it was just so fun to watch those standing ovations be loud, almost rowdy, and just the fact that they kept going and going the length of them. And I just have to wonder, and you could probably even relate back then when you were first starting in theater, I didn't get a standing ovation for anything I ever did until I was 57, I think. And when you get it at that age, does that just even pump you up more to continue in theater?
I would hope so. Man, there's so many times where I think about just being in these kids. Like, so many of our students go on to do musical theater professionally. And I just think, oh man, what would I have given to have a program like this when I was their age? Like, I'm just so happy, like thrilled for them that they have the opportunities to perform that they do. And because it's not just with DAPA, but with the multitude of children's theater opportunities that there are in Sioux Falls within their own program, school programs, within the community theater and elsewhere. I'm just so happy that there's the theater scene, the educational theater scene is thriving here in Sioux Falls.
Yeah, as arts and entertainment in general are over the past 2 decades now, I think. But it just, like I said, it was fun to watch that. But also, when it comes to DAPA, for those that haven't listened before and learned about it, give us an idea as to what DAPA actually is and what its goal is, besides just getting people on stage.
The Dakota Academy of Performing Arts was founded back in, I think it was 2001, by Sarah Crosby. As a way, she always says that our students in Sioux Falls are just as talented as the kids anywhere else in the country. They just need the opportunity. So her goal was to create high quality, high level opportunities for kids to excel in the performing arts. So that's really what we do. We want to create opportunities for students to excel in the performing arts. So when we first began, we were a chamber orchestra, and then we also had the Plays for Living Theater Company, which we still do to this day. We perform social plays about social issues like bullying, discrimination, suicide prevention, etc., in the elementary schools and at Avera Behavioral Health for their adolescent unit. So that's kind of how DAPA started, and then it's just grown, and especially in the last, I want to say, like 7 years, has just exploded into this great program that not only does the Plays for Living theater, but also that the musicals throughout the school year and summer.
What made you want to be part of it?
Bob asked me to choreograph a show. No, maybe he asked me to teach an acting class first. I forget when exactly it was that I first started with DAPA, but just, working with kids who are excited about the work is, it's just so much fun. Working with anybody who's excited to do their best and be their best selves is so gratifying for both parties. So you just want to help them succeed. And it just feels good to do that and to be around like-minded individuals, no matter their age. So exactly. It's just a blast.
What was one of the first things that when you got into it then that you said, here's what I want kids to know about theater?
I think when I first started teaching the acting class, and even now when I direct like Plays for Living shows, we always talk about it, how important it is to empathize with the characters you're playing, and understand those characters' goals, their objectives, what they want. And not only that, but think about the tactics and the ways in which they can try to get it. and then how that translates into the way your body moves. And not only that, but you need to in turn turn that around and look at what is it that I do in the way that I move and speak throughout the day that is communicating my wants, needs, goals, etc. And to be able to understand themselves and how they're communicating, and then that helps them better understand the characters and how the characters need to communicate. So yeah, just that ability to watch others, observe others, watch themselves, observe themselves, and then understand the characters and empathize with them.
Yeah, not just memorize the lines and the cues.
Yeah.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. There's one thing about the DAPA as well. It's just we get asked so often when we go to a DAPA show, well, what are you going to a DAPA show for? You don't have any kids or grandkids in it, do you? No. But we're going to be looking at the people that we're going to be watching in
it's true.
Premier Playhouse and Goodnight Theater and everything else in about 5 to 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, and it's such a great building block.
They're incredibly talented students.
How many kids involved this past year then with those big stage productions?
I couldn't give you an exact number, but at least a few hundred. Maybe like 150 in the school year. And
incredible.
Then we get around
That's awesome,
250 during the summer.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned earlier, in a lot of these places now, the elementary schools and middle schools have some sort of curriculum that is building toward that. In fact, can't remember which school it is, but one of them, isn't it more of a performing arts?
Eugene Field, A+.
The A+, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right. And that's just amazing that we have something like that in town now, so they can get it, in terms of the public, but then they can also get involved in DAPA. They're looking forward to being on stage.
Mm-hmm. And I always encourage my students to, there will be seasons where you don't get cast or where things don't work out with your family schedule to participate in everything. And, sometimes when you're a theater kid or a theater person in general, and you're not actively doing theater, it can feel really disheartening.
Yeah.
And I try to encourage them, you can still make theater on your own or with one friend. And nowadays, as a professional, if you're not creating your own work, a lot out in LA mm-hmm. or New York, if you don't know how to create your own work, then oftentimes you're not working. So I try to encourage them that you can still be making theater on your own.
Yeah, be coming up with different ideas. You can do some writing. You can be, learning a different aspect of it.
Yeah, practice your skills into the camera by reading the newspaper and thinking about those goals that you can be achieving and how you're going to achieve the goal, no matter what it is you're saying. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got 2 more subjects to cover here. Next being one that you've been in with the beginning once again, mm-hmm. Monstrous Little Theater.
Yeah.
And that's had an incredible run of late, too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a great segue, because that's exactly the reason why we created Monstrous. Because that's the kind of work we wanted to be doing. So we made it ourselves.
Yeah. And what have you been able to make so far? What do you think is the biggest thing you've achieved at this point?
I don't know. We've done so much. I think some of the shows that I'm most proud of are the ones where we've used really unique spaces and collaborated with spaces or collaborated with other companies.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. You've been at a pizza joint. You've been at a beer joint.
Yeah, we've been at a brewery. We've been in a grocery store. We've been in a garage. We've been in a church. We've been all over the place.
When somebody gets involved in a group like Monstrous, then, where you are in all these different places, what do you think the actor learns most?
I would hope that the actor learns that their character and the story can be informed by the space they're in. Anytime we do use a unique space like that, I'm trying to select a space that I think, again, gives something to the story or that relates to the story somehow. So, for example, when we did Bhutan, we did it at Keller's grocery store, and the mom worked at a grocery store. So, that's how, it related to us. So I would hope that the actor can learn that flexibility and get to experience how.
Do you consider Monstrous to be a little more edgy, a little more experimental? What would you, without slapping a label on it, what would you
Sure.
label it as?
I mean, we do contemporary theater, contemporary dramatic theater in unique spaces is kind of like our elevator pitch. It's not necessarily our mission, but that's like what we tend to do is, we want to do shows that explore societal issues and human nature, that create conversation and discussion between the creatives involved and the audiences.
Well, I remember going to one at Augustana, and the audience sat on the stage.
Yeah, it was set in the movie theater.
It was set in the movie theater, and the people cleaning up afterward, and I suppose they were ushers prior to, and so forth.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, so always interesting what you come up with. So
thank you.
You just you're multi-talented, because now let's hit number 4. Improv Falls.
Yes, we love.
You guys never stop. Well, we all stopped with different things in the COVID experience for a little bit, but you got back on it. And how often are you playing now?
We usually take a little break during the summers just because we've found that it's harder to get an audience in when so many people are, want to be outside drinking beer on a patio or they're camping somewhere or, whatever it is. But we still practice once a week, typically during the summer. But our next show, I think, is August 13th. I hope I'm not misquoting that. I'm pulling it up on my phone now, but we'll pick back up again in August. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We love what we do.
Do we know where that's at then?
Okay. See, I did misquote.
Oh.
It's not
You're
August
in trouble
13th.
now.
I know. I'm probably fired. It's August 26th at Icon.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we'll look forward to that then.
Yeah.
What is you play dramatic roles, you play iconic roles like Lucy. What does improv teach you to help you play those, and vice versa?
Improv is so good, I think, for everyone because it teaches you how to be present and how to be a listener. And not only that, but also teaches you how to, kind of like we were talking about earlier, how to really tell stories quickly and efficiently using all parts of your body, from your fingertips to your toes. How are you portraying this character's emotion, perspective, wants, needs, background? I
will say you are absolutely top-notch at that yourself.
Oh, thank you.
I've said it before. I think it's even in a Sioux Falls stage that Debbi Jones sells every nuance of every move.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's just, and that's one of the things I admire about you. And I can see it in what you bring out in other people too. And that includes in improv. A lot of people think that improv is just everybody's talking off the top of their head and so forth, like it's a stream of consciousness, but it's not. There's a beginning, there's a middle, there's a conflict and a resolution and an ending. Yeah. Like every story has. And it's just that we have a lot more fun in creating it at the on-the-spot type thing and so forth. But so I see that in you when you're doing that on stage in a full production. I see it when you're on stage in improv. And I see how others react around you, too. And that's good to see. And your group is amazing.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much.
All of you. That darn Chris Andrews kid. I don't know. He might be able to fit in somewhere, huh?
Oh my gosh! We have so much fun together.
Yeah, and now you've added Michael Sorensen on the piano.
Yes, he is great, and I think one of the things that's just like the best thing about working with these people is, again, it's just people who are excited to learn, to try new things, to experiment, learn together. Sometimes our rehearsals start with just, someone sharing something they read recently out of an improv book, or, we're just trying to share. Oftentimes it's Bill, shout out to you. But yeah, we're just trying to grow as people and performers.
That's wonderful. How do you grow as a performer? What is it that you are, maybe it's a motto of yours or almost, or as to something that you really want to concentrate on every time?
Well, when I did Stella Adler, when I did that program in New York, the motto of that school is growth as an actor and growth as a human being are synonymous. So for me, I'm not successful at it because, I'm a human being, but I'm constantly just trying to push myself as a person to find the spots. Yeah, I feel so awkward saying this now, but I'm trying to improve myself when I can. But again, I fail all the time. But yeah, I know that the more I
But it doesn't keep you from striving for it.
Right. Yes. And so, yeah, part of that, I try to be a better leader, or I try to read more books, or I try to, do the artist's way challenge, or things like that. So growth is for anyone. Growth as a human being and growth as an actor is synonymous. So the more you're trying to improve yourself as a person, the better you'll portray different characters on stage, because the better you'll understand yourself and the better you'll understand other people.
What do you think you bring to a stage?
I hope that I bring creative energy and big fun listening characters. I just try to be really active and listening to my scene partners. Sometimes that means I'll forget what's supposed to come next, or they'll make me break and laugh, which has happened a few times this week, but because they're just so talented and it distracts me. But yeah, so I just try to be really, really present with them.
All right. So end of August for
Improv Falls.
Improv Falls. And then tonight is the beginning of Good Night.
Yes.
Theater Collectives. You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, of which you are playing Lucy. What about things coming up for Dappa and Monstrous then?
For Monstrous, we have been doing Monstrous Little Book Club this summer, which is we're doing public play readings just at the library once a month. Mm-hmm. So our next one is July 23rd at the Oakview Library from 9:30 to noon. We'll just read a play out loud together. We did one back in June. It was a lot of fun. We just had a random assortment of people show up, and we just read together and switched characters. And then we'll do the same thing August 13th. So that's probably where I got that date mixed up. August 13th will be at Prairie West Library. So we've got one on the east side, one on the west side. And then for Dappa, we've got a couple more summer camps this summer. We've got Honk Jr., which is being directed by Molly Wilson. It happens July 23rd and 22nd and 23rd, I think. And that will be super fun. It's for 11 to 14-year-olds. And I know there's still like a tiny amount of spots open if there's any 11 to 14-year-olds out there who want to learn from the best, making a super, super fun show. And then after that, we have The Claw, which is for 9 to 11-year-olds. That's another 2-week camp being directed by Coleman Peterson. And that one goes up. That one has performances first weekend of August, like the 4th and 5th, I think.
So busy all the time, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, and it's always good to be busy. I always tell people it beats boredom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So you have very little boredom in your life, but when you do take a little time and sit down and go, relax, what do you like to do?
I just started gardening this summer.
Oh,
yes, my mother-in-law has been teaching me her ways of flowers. So we have we bought a house this fall, and there's a huge garden in the back that we have done nothing with. So it's full of weeds, but in the front, there's this cute little flower box that I have. And I like to, it's very satisfying to pick the weeds out. But I also I started grad school this summer. So I'm getting my MBA online through USD. So that, studying math is my other form of relaxation right now.
Oh, my.
It's a good time.
Yeah. I never got my graduate degree. I thought about it a little bit. Now kind of wish I had and just done it, many years ago. But I remember a friend that he got his about 40-something. And he was already, a principal and in a small school. And he said, I just went to the closet and locked the door for 5 hours every day before I finally got it all done. So kudos to you for taking that on, especially with everything you already do. And, let's see. Yeah, what? Oh, a full-time job at the Washington Pavilion.
It's great. It's a good time.
Well, you keep busy that way. Excellent. Debbi Jones, it is always a pleasure. It truly is. Thank you so much. And, of course, once again... have a great night. And I don't think this is, maybe it's been wished before somewhere. But since you are an actor and it's your birthday, I hope you break a leg for your birthday.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Debbie. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
As Dave always says, it's always a pleasure to bring you great guests.
Brian Schipper, would you agree with that?
I think I would. I don't know what I'm doing here after that, but...
All right, everybody. Let me officially say it then. It's always a pleasure to have great guests on this show. Brian Schipper returning for fourth time?
Oh, who knows?
Yeah.
At this point. I need a punch card.
I think so.
All right.
And maybe, one of these times you'll get something free.
Oh.
And Kylie Murray, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
First time guest. If I were any better, I'd be twins. I'd get twice as much done.
There you go.
Yeah, but also probably getting twice as much trouble.
Yeah.
And of course, you two are with Mighty Corson Arts Players. Got a big birthday coming up.
Yes.
40th anniversary of MCAP, and that's coming up a week from this Saturday, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we'll be on is that the 16th?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so on June 16th.
July.
Okay, now I'm a month behind. Well, that gives me more time to prepare for the 4th of July then. Anywho, so it's coming up July 16th. And what time's everything going to start? And then what do the festivities include then, Kylie?
It starts at 3 o'clock
Mhm.
and it goes till about 10 o'clock.
Whew.
You don't have to leave at 10 o'clock, obviously, but it starts just with people arriving and being able to mingle and say hello. There's a ribbon cutting by the Chamber of Commerce at 4 o'clock. And then we have theater tours starting, a few different ones starting at a few different times. We have a couple of vendors, Homestead Brew and Wild Prairie Winery, doing some wine tasting and beer tasting. We have Michael Gross for Kingbird Coffee and Michael Gross Realty going to have a booth here. Of course, Mighty Corson Art Players will have our table set up with some koozies for sale and some more information about our next season coming up and how to audition and all that fun stuff.
Right.
So, and then Elizabeth Hunstead.
I was just going to say, is my girl playing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I had heard that
She
earlier.
starts at 7.
Oh,
so,
great. See, because I have to work until 4 o'clock that day.
Oh, okay.
And so I was thinking, okay, earliest could be out here is 4:30, probably closer to 5 by the time we get our everything set.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be missing anything.
Nope.
Good.
Nope. Just the ribbon cutting. So,
Okay.
But, we can fill you in on that.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got cell phones now. Let's just get a
Record
little
it.
video of it.
There you go. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the great thing about this event. You can come and go as you want.
Right.
Participate how and where you want to, and not be around for what you don't.
Yep.
Well said. I
Thank
like
you.
that. Yeah, it's a great way to approach it. So come and go. Cake?
Yep.
There
We're
is.
going to have cake. Yep. And
Yeah.
we'll have hors d'oeuvres
Oh.
the beginning of the evening
Oh,
from
yes.
Tony's Catering. Just a few cold hors d'oeuvres, and then all of the board members and some people that support the theater are going to be bringing in some treats and things that we're making ourselves as well.
Well done.
During
I like it.
the theater tours, we're also going to have the unveiling of the curtain, the original curtain that was hanging up here.
Oh,
the
wow.
Mighty Corson Art Players
From 40 years ago.
from the 1920s.
Oh,
So-
we're talking way back
Yeah,
now.
it's an original
Yeah.
hand-painted curtain, canvas curtain, and it has like 3-digit, 4-digit phone numbers on
Right.
it still. And
Those are such a great part of history. Every time I see one, I grew up down in Rock Rapids and the Rapids Theater there, when they were revamping things, found huge ones. One for the full stage, and then some other bigger that could be used as flats and so forth. Just amazing stuff. And like you said, the 3-digit phone numbers. And then just to see some of the names of businesses of past, it's always, first of all, they look great. They're fun in that respect, but also, it's history.
Yep.
Yeah, and to think back at, how long things have been going on. And so, Brian, I know we've talked about this before, but give us, a bit of the history of MCAP then.
Sure. And Kylie, fill me in if I miss anything. This was actually the Corson Playhouse where we are. It was a theater all the way back to the 1920s. The Corson Dramatic Club, I think. Corson Dramatic Club spent about 6 or 7 years here, and then followed by the Pepperites after that for, another couple of years until the outbreak of World War II. And then it turned into a, community gathering place for dinners and dances and stuff like that. And in 1982, Mighty Corson Arts Players came in, and we've been producing community theater ever since, and just keeping that 100+ at this point year-old tradition alive out here.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I have toured this theater before. Thank you, Brian, the first time that Carrie and I came out here. And to see, it's not a huge theater by any means. You're limited, but you pack it all the time because people enjoy coming out here, not just for the community aspect of it, but the fact that it is very good productions, great stuff that takes on the stage here. So it's fantastic to see that, plus the different actors that perform here that you're going to see at other places as well. So it's wonderful in that regard. But so I've known Brian a while now, and he's talked about, his love of theater. But Kylie, how did you get involved with MCAP?
Well, about 4 years ago, I've always had it on my bucket list that I wanted to be in a play.
Okay.
And I thought it would just be like, okay, I would be in a play and I'd mark it off my bucket list and off I'd go. Well, I always knew about the Mighty Corson Arts Players. I live in Brandon here, and I lived right down the road actually at that time. And so I saw it come up on Facebook, and I was like, what the hell? Go audition. I have absolutely no theater experience whatsoever, but I have a good personality, and let's,
give it a shot.
So I did, and I got cast, and it was a non-speaking role. And so I had to rely on my facial expressions and stage presence. I was on stage a lot. So it was an experience, but it was really fun. And it's just the nostalgia of the whole thing and the environment and the old theater, the smells, the learning more about it. I had no idea how old it was at the time or anything like that. And once I got to know all the people and the history of it, it just intrigued me that much more. Not even just with the acting side of it, but just the whole thing. And so I just became as involved as I could. Asked Brian, what I could do or what I couldn't do, and was completed that show in my first role of the non-speaking role that everybody still talks about. And then I just started stage managing, and I was in another show, and then I was a stage manager a couple of times after that. And then I became on the board. And so I've been on the board now for almost 2 years. And actually it's been 2 years now, and kind of overtook me because I also do like all the front of house stuff and all the concessions. I do all the social media and all the getting together with the advertisers and the sponsors and stuff. So it became quite a passion for me to support the theater in any way that I can. So
did you move on to a speaking part?
I did.
Okay.
My next role I had after that was a speaking part, yes.
I bet that first role, though, you had the lines down.
I did. Yeah. I did. I tell you what, a non-speaking role sometimes is harder than
Well, you know
not.
what? The winner of the Sioux Falls Stage Award last year was Nick Jackson. He had been in the Fantastics, and he was the mute.
Yeah.
And he won for Best Actor.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. And you kind of knew it, too. It was like, man, it was a great performance.
Yeah.
And when you saw that on the ballot, it's like, yeah, he didn't have any lines, but so those, like they say, there's no small part.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
everything's integral to it.
Well, it's like everybody is looking at you more because they're like, is she going to talk? Is she ever going to talk? And so they're really constantly looking at you, and you're like, no, I got to keep on my facial expressions. I got to.
What's it like to work in this theater then, besides being on stage, but doing the things that you do so much with front of house and concessions, social media, and so forth? Do you ever go, oh man, why did I decide to do the audition for that one show? Or are you going like, man, I just can't wait for more stuff to come along?
No, I never regret it.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of work sometimes, but it's worth it. I mean, it's volunteer, but what else would I volunteer my time for if I wasn't passionate about it? I think that's the other good thing about all the people that have to do with MCAP, because most of them, well, all of them are all volunteers. So, it's goes to show their passion and what they are really into and what they want to do and how they want to put their presence in the theater. And I love it. I love everything about it. So,
yeah. And that's a really special part of the ethos here, where, Kylie, for instance, had a bucket list to come out and audition for a show. And from there, found interest in other things and was afforded the opportunity to participate and try wearing many different hats. And really, the sky's the limit out here. And it's really wonderful to see not just Kylie, but other people come through as well.
And how many people are on the board right now?
10.
10, okay. And do they each kind of get like a little subcommittee or anything that they concentrate on? Or since it's a smaller group, is it just everybody pitch in with whatever?
Sure. We're a little bit of both. There's a lot of things that it's really important for everybody to be on the same page about. So I make everybody pretty complicit in quite a lot of things. But now that we've grown our board and we have a really healthy board that's passionate about things, it's okay to, we have them specializing in doing some other things. Like we have a budget and a finance committee. Most places do. And we have a front of house committee, and we have a communications committee that are all relatively new and able to exert their own agency over making this place better. So it's just another way for more people to get involved and invested. And so it's not just a very small group of people ordering everybody else around.
Yeah. And do you see the passion in them as much as you do the people that are on stage?
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. And sometimes those people are the people on stage as well. So that's sort of like the gateway drug to everything else. It's like first casting's free. But, but no, it is great, because without passionate and motivated leadership, with candor and a wealth of ideas, we're not going to improve. We're not going to get better, and we're not going to be producers of some of the best theater in the Sioux Empire, which we are. And it's great. And we can stand behind that because everybody's passionately committed to that as a goal.
And the thing is about this theater, you've got a small seating, and you don't do many multiple weekends, usually a couple. And so, you don't have a maximum of 12 shows to something. You're usually a shorter run than that. But yet you continue to get butts in the seats, and it seems like the patrons just always love coming here. And I just, that has to please both of you, first of all, because then as you're, paying royalties and so forth, you're going, yeah, we got again. But, 40 years in a small spot like this, that's a joy.
Yeah.
And what do you guys get out of it as you see this progress? You see the quality of the shows progress, and you're seeing, more people come along and get their first taste here, and, want to get season tickets like a couple I know.
Yeah.
Maybe even advertised like a person I know.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. And that is such a gratifying experience. I've always said the first word in community theater is community. And if we're not building out and making those inroads and drawing people in and lowering the barrier of participation, whether it's for artists or audiences or just generally people who want to come in and say, hey, what's this about? If we're not doing that, we're doing something wrong. And it's, for me, it's been a wonderful transformation over the 7 years that I've been here. I've kind of given up on individual theater goals because everything that happens under here is a success, and I personally feel that. And I just love seeing how much it's grown and changed.
Yeah. Yeah, this theater is so much more, I shouldn't say more, it's different. All theater's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been to shows at many different theaters and many different venues and many different actual theaters, you know, and everyone has its own special wow factor, you know, not even including we're just talking about just walking in the doors, you know, the actual theater itself, the feeling that you get, the concessions, the front of house, the ushers, the everything. Everyone has its own unique thing that you feel when you walk in there. And this theater just has its own vibe. You know, it's the quaintness of it. It's the smell. Like I said, it's not a stinky old smell. It's a
yeah. Keep talking about the smell.
It's a good smell. No, people know what I mean. Like an old book. That's a good comparison. You know, like that's what I mean by the older smell. Like you just can, and you can feel the presence of what has gone down in this place. And just looking at the old things that we still have in the building from like that they used to use way back in the day, like the can lights and the when I found the old curtain and that we're going to be unveiling and stuff, that just brings it every time that I root through things or that I'm here. You find something more, or you run into somebody that starts telling stories or whatever, and it's just a really different at home theater, really quaint, friendly feeling.
Yeah, and the history of this community is literally written on the walls here.
Yes.
Literally in marker backstage, and then also in artifact and frame out in the lobby. And it's not just the history of the Mighty Corson Art Players, but it's the history of art in this community for well over 100 years. And it's humbling sometimes, a lot of the time actually, to walk in and look around and see it and understand that and feel incredibly lucky just to be a part of it.
And that we continue to add to it. We don't take away from it. We just continue.
Not resting on the laurels. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
How many seats are there?
There are 101, 95 for audiences, for ushers.
All right. Because I was thinking, the population of the town's only 70.
Right. Yeah.
So you draw from around the area, obviously Brandon, because it's just across the interstate, literally, and the Sioux Falls area. And do you see that there's like these, I don't know if I want to call them theater groupies, but, there's a community of people that just want to keep going to community theaters and see what everything's playing. And do you feel that here, as well as the veterans that have been coming and putting their rear end down to watch a show?
Yeah, absolutely. And, quite frankly, a lot of our veterans at this point are from Sioux Falls, Sioux Falls and T and Harrisburg. And they, it's a whole big interconnected community that we're a part of. And it's great. And it's great to see the more we jump up and down and say, hey, we're here, and do stuff like inviting other groups like SA to come and do shows and to hold events like the 40th coming up. The more we jump up and down, the more people notice it, and the more people are coming out. And it's such a great feeling.
There going to be any time during the big event on the 40th for those that have, maybe been longtime actors that have kind of given up being on stage, but they want to come up and talk about early days of MCAP? Can you have anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly why we have such a wide period of time. So that way it can accommodate many schedules,
right?
And people can come and go as they choose to. And while we have some things happening from like 4 to 5, and then other stuff from 7 to 10, there's just this great period of time in between that isn't just dead zone time, but time for us to really honor and pay attention to and let the community gather, because that's why we're here.
Yeah, because I always love that when you hear stories about, I'm sure there are some that were here in 1982, opening night and so forth. And to hear, first of all, what it was like for them, but then second of all, to hear what they think of it now, and and how it's progressed. Those stories are always just gold, in my opinion.
Oh, I know. The first time I heard about the first show here, which was folding chairs and a light bulb inside of Folgers coffee cans that were painted black, literal can lights. And we have a couple still that we that we hang on to, just as a nod to where we've been.
Right.
Anytime I hear those stories, they're fascinating and it's so much fun. A couple of years ago, when there was a Corson celebration at Bottoms Up, we had somebody there come over and point out pictures of the Corson Dramatic Club that's hanging on the wall here, and she's like, "Yep, that's my mom and my dad and her friend," and it's so amazing.
Yeah, and
so
touching.
Good. Yeah.
Well, in another 40 years, there's going to be a whole new group that does that same thing. Then,
oh, I know.
What do you hope that happens in the future for them? What do you dream about? What do you see?
I want to see this place keep growing and getting bigger, and I'm excited to see their 50th and 60th and hopefully be just a pretty small footnote later on at the 80th, 90th, 100th, because so much more is gonna happen. We're set at such a good potential that we haven't even tapped in yet, so I can't wait to largely become irrelevant.
Well, no, because then we'll be the people up there telling the stories and pointing out pictures. That was me. That was you.
Yeah.
And I didn't speak.
Yeah. Which is a largely crazy thing to say about me, for sure.
Right.
All right. So we're getting toward the end. Just a couple of more questions, and I'll get to my traditional ending interview questions. But when you see Brandon becoming basically part of Sioux Falls, Corson obviously is basically part of Sioux Falls now. But as you see Brandon expanding, do you think that we're going to see more population actually in Corson? Do you think that people will come across the line and build someplace new?
Well, there's only so much space in Corson that even has housing availability. I don't think there's any I don't know that information obviously firsthand, but being that there hasn't been widespread building in this area, I'm assuming that there isn't a lot of housing eligibilities. Otherwise, you think that people would be building more over here. That might be something to ask the,
Right. I remember paging through some news articles and seeing a couple different attempts throughout the years. I think a good 2 or 3 of annexation of Corson into Brandon, and it never really finds much traction as far as
because I guess, with the quaintness of this theater and so forth, if suddenly it's, no longer quote unquote Mighty Corson Arts Players, it's, people think of Corson as Brandon. And, I guess I don't want to see the quaintness leave.
No, I don't think it'll ever change from being the Mighty Corson Art Players. Yeah. I mean, Brandon's growing, obviously,
exponentially.
Leaps and bounds. So I'm hoping that there'll be more and more people that will dive into theater and this theater, because the more the merrier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll always still try to keep the quaintness of the Mighty Corson Art Players alive, and I'm assuming, I would hope that it would always stay.
Yeah,
stay MCAP.
It's in the fabric and in the culture of this place, and in a space like ours that has the limits that it does, we can push it and push it and push it. But there are some indefinable characteristics that we can't push up against, but that also make us who we are, and that's one of them, and it's something to celebrate.
And of course, get kids involved with camp.
Heck yeah.
And how did that go? It looked like it was great. Sorry I didn't get to the show, but
that's okay. It was amazing. I loved doing it last year, and this year getting a chance to do it again and see some of those returning kids who've spent a year growing and changing and coming into themselves was so incredible and so much fun. And it being able to set a really high bar for them too, of, hey, you're not going to have helpers backstage. You're going to figure it all out on your own, like a real show would. Deal with it is so great. They loved to be challenged, and they did a phenomenal job of it. Getting 16 kids on stage to move together in formation was daunting, but wonderful to see them succeed doing it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And of course, the thing about that is we've got kids interested in it. Some of them might come from theater families, but the ones that aren't from a theater family, maybe you got new patrons going, wow, they do some great stuff here. Look what they did for my child.
Yep.
And how much fun my kid had doing this. I got to come see more of their shows.
Yep.
Yeah. And my story, regrettably, is that, when I first heard of Mighty Corson Arts Players, boy, that's a great name, because of the Mighty Corson Arts Players on Johnny Carson. And I always loved it, but yet it took me until 2 years ago to finally get my butt out here and take in a show, and I have loved it ever since. And I think we've only missed one, maybe two. But
okay,
yeah. And so we just love it. In fact, Carrie says it's her favorite theater.
Oh,
yeah, and she loves Brian.
Yeah,
Carrie's the best.
She always says, because I'll say, "Well, my friend Brian." Well, he's my friend too. All right, so now we've come to the great time, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Kylie first because this is her first time on the show, and so first question is, if you're not entertaining, being part of the entertainment and arts scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Oh boy, many things. I love music.
Mm-hmm.
I love reading. I love good movies. I have my stupid reality TV addictions.
Oh my! What's the top on that?
Oh, right now I'm caught on Below Deck. Otherwise, I love being outside. I love bike riding, camping, and me and my husband just bought a house.
Mm-hmm. And congratulations, by the way,
thank
newlywed.
You. Yes, thank you. And so we're working on that all the time and working outside, and so and we have 2 little girls, so just always stay busy. So yeah.
All right. Well, with everything you got going on, then I still ask the question: any other hobbies?
Any other hobbies? I wish I could have other hobbies.
Yeah.
Maybe when the children
get
a little bit older and the house comes together. Yeah. I love doing nails. But I don't do anybody else's. It's just usually my own.
Uh-huh.
I have kind of
you should. Those are quite impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I did my 4th of July nails. So that's kind of a hobby.
Yeah, that would be. No doubt about that. Yeah. All right, Brian Schipper.
Yeah.
Because even though you've been on several times, I still ask it because people might be hearing you for the first time.
Sure.
You might have changed your answers too. So, not part of the entertainment and arts scene. What do you like to be entertained by?
Oh, gosh. My kid, who's fantastic and learning words now, like a new one a day, and it's fascinating. The only one he won't say is... because, try to prompt him to say things because it's adorable. And he knows love you, but you ask him and little shit, he's like, no. So he'll...
No, I'm sure. The favorite word is no.
I know.
Sure.
Well, no. So it's like, say love you. And he says, no, and then runs away. And it's endlessly hysterical. Beyond that, I just had a D&D session this morning with a group of actors. That occupies my time to a degree that I do not care to admit. And really just enjoying being out and about, taking in music and culture of downtown Sioux Falls. I just moved there in January, so that's great to get out of the apartment and beat the street a little bit.
For a second there, you sounded Canadian. About.
Yeah.
Out and about.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Any other hobbies then?
I think that's it. Baking and cooking and stuff like that. But that's also partly just having to live.
That's called sustenance, not a hobby. Brian Schipper, Kylie Murray from Mighty Corson Arts Players. Thank you so much. Just one more time quickly, date, time, everything going on for the 40th.
Sure. It's July 16th. Starts at 3 p.m. Go ahead, Brian. You do the rest.
July 16th, 4 to whenever, with cake, which is soup. I know, cake. Super important. Cake, hors d'oeuvres, a ribbon cutting, unveiling a 100-year-old hand-painted drop. curtain. Why did my brain just fart? That happens at the end of interviews. Theater tours. Elizabeth Hunstead, who, if come for cake, stay for her.
Yes.
And it's great.
She's like a dessert anyway.
That's right.
Exactly. And on a personal note, everybody that I know is going to be at the 40th, and so I'll be celebrating my 40th birthday as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. I had a personalized one, and it was for Debbi Jones, who was just on before you guys. Because I found a place that has happy birthday songs. It's a group of karaoke singers.
Sure.
And they have thousands of names to choose from.
Yeah.
It's like 99 cents, and I got it, and I can have the rights to it now.
Sweet.
You know?
There you go.
That's awesome.
So then it'll just be, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Brian, happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. You know, I would have been pleased as punched if you played the one for Debbie instead, but the fact that you actually sang this one, I'm touched.
All right. Well, love you, my friend.
Love you too.
Yeah, all right. Kylie, thank you so much. I'm sure you will be on more times than this.
I hope so. Thank you for having me.
All right. Even though you didn't say a word.
Oh, yep.
All right. We'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thank you once again to all of you that are listening, and for those of you that are longtime listeners, God bless you. I certainly do appreciate it. Appreciate the downloads, the sharing you do on media, the fact that you go to the Dave Holly Hour Facebook page and the Dave Holly Hour website, which is davehollyhour.com, and you support those. You are also, making sure that old Dave stays on his toes, too. For those of you that are listening for the first time, thank you. We hope we've piqued your interest about Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment conversations and continue to listen to us. You can follow us on social media. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter. And yes, I'm finally getting to the point of TikTok. All right. Some of you may laugh along with me at that going, isn't the guy near 60? All righty. So thank you once again to all of you. Thank you to the great guests, Kylie Murray and Brian Schipper from Mighty Corson Arts Players. Debbi Jones will be performing tonight, and it's also her birthday, as she's part of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, part of the Goodnight Theater Collective's show and production. As for what else is going on, well, I have to tell you once again that it's Trivia for Dummies tomorrow night at the Sky Lounge and Tea. Yeah, believe it or not, easy questions. Well, at least most of them are. We'll see who can stay perfect for 7 rounds of fun, starting at 7 p.m. And then Saturday night, regrettably, we didn't get to Bear Bodkin's Theater last week because of the weather, the temperatures, and so forth. Just a little too much for me and the missus. But we are looking to get there Saturday night and take that in. All right. Thank you all so much for everything that you do. Oh, yeah. So, by the way, I'm going to Goodnight Theater tonight, too. Yeah, so Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, all covered. Sunday is a day of rest from all. Oh, thank you so much again. Appreciate everything all of you do. And once again, remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by the Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, and Books and Brews Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, go to davehollyhour.com. At the bottom of the front page is the additional links section. Click on the orange button, Dave Holly on Linktree. You can order merchandise, become a Dave Holly Hour VIP, and make contributions to the show. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.